Have you ever met a Liana in Germany?
Have I ever met Liana? Well, first we got to do the introduction to today's podcast. We got Lily Rose here. I sometimes say Lily. We have already things falling off left and right here. Oh,
I was
she's
just
been
playing
gaming.
some Peach. I'm in 8th place.
She's been gaming. Well, musician, songwriter,
Educator.
educator,
Producer.
coast to coast, socialite, producer,
Socialite. International.
international socialite. Well, this is the rise and shine episode of the podcast. Meaning, here, this is the coffee version.
I'm just going to say Malte is the best coffee maker in all of the land.
And oh, thank you. Yeah, we have an old Italian espresso machine and some good beans. But yeah, we kind of just like rolled out a bit, and but then it took longer for us to get going because we've been up.
We had a late night, early morning.
We had a late night.
Blasting electronic dance music past the hours of 3 a.m.
Yes. Well, this is kind of why how the podcast started. It was all a quest to go back to the source of like where creativity comes from, right? Like it was sort of during COVID and nothing was going on in LA. A lot of like places were shutting down. And I was like, let's start a podcast. First of all, because you couldn't really meet in groups. So it was like, this is like a one-on-one thing. We can do the little COVID test or whatever that was. And then we can, just be in a room, humans, that sort of thing. So I thought to myself, and during that period, it's also like really tough to be like creative. And then I was like, okay, what is creativity, right? Because like when you grow up, creativity is sort of just like as a child, like different kids, like they get into different things. Some kid might get into painting, the other kid might get into music, whatever, and like find this like creative outlet that they like just kind of grow into. But then later, when you then decide to make this, some of them try to make this their career, right? Like music or like some kind of art form becomes your career. Now, creativity is almost like always like linked to like an assignment, right? Think about it. Like if you're a producer, like if I'm a producer and I'm producing with an artist, there's an assignment behind this. It's not just like, oh, let's do free form, like whatever we can come up with. It is a little bit sort of, there's an assignment and there's a sort of a canvas that needs to be sort of like adhered to. And it's almost like, kind of when the frog boils in the water, I really didn't realize until it was too late. And I got really stale. Like the creative process got really stale for me. And I felt like I was like in creative jail, and then I was like, how can I get out of there? So then I was like, okay, we should start some conversations with people that are creative, and then maybe somebody else has been going through the same thing, or they're like, no dude, like I've always, it's like my whole life I've been on this creative journey that just keeps on growing and growing. And I think that exists for a lot of artists, right? Like if you're young as a musician and you're a writer, you get signed like you're 20, 21, like you don't know anything else, right? So you're pumping everything into your own like creativity. You're writing your business, and doing that. Like you don't have to like do the whole like service provision. But then there's writers, for example, like in Nashville. I used to live in Nashville for a long time, that like try to make it happen, maybe got a deal, it didn't really work out, and now they're like working for a publisher and writing songs for other artists. That still might be fulfilling, but like, it's sort of like it's
like a job still.
Yeah, it's kind of like a job. I mean, if you're a recording artist and you sign, it's still like a job, but it's sort of like it's like all about your vision,
Right.
So that's why I was like gonna ask you a couple questions, because you seem to like have like still like this unraveling, unwavering passion for music. Like you wake up, you go to the piano, you're like the first thing is like, oh, I want to learn this song. It's like, and I'm like, oh,
well,
wow.
That again was for an assignment. He's referring to, I woke up today, went straight to the piano and started learning songs for a gig tonight, for music from the movies. So, yeah, again, that was for an assignment. But I would say inspiration will just strike randomly for like writing, just creating and writing in general. But yeah, I mean, even if it's for an assignment or a job, it's still fun, I would say.
But then how do you like do you feel like you kind of have to like when you write and you have been like creative in that sort of open mindset, do you feel like that you have to like also in order to finish it, you kind of just have to put a different time aside where you say, okay, now it's all about structure, all about organization and just finishing it, you know?
Yeah, I think I think finishing any project is very important. It's like why, I mean, it, it's like finish what you start, but sometimes that can take a lot longer than expected, and that's okay. It's all a process. Um, so yeah, but
You
I,
where do you like do you think like sometimes it is like I work sort of in like an environment where there's like a lot of like yeah you start something where it's like forced like you just kind of like I mean but then is it forced right if you started something and you just like say okay now this song needs to be done by like tomorrow night you will make different choices right because you will make your choices are gonna be a little bit more tailored towards finishing fast than maybe the exploration of what's possible right.
yes, yes, yeah. When there's a deadline involved, yeah, it might have a different outcome.
What do we think about deadlines?
I
That's a
I
good.
think
That's
they're
just
they're essential.
essential. Do you
It's
set
like
your own deadlines? Are you able to do that?
I try, but I'm more of a flexible, structured person. So I would say that, it's like, well, step away from the painting and or you could just keep on working on the painting forever. But if you step away and finish the product, then you're going to have something to present. Otherwise, you could just continue working on it for forever, essentially.
That is such a good point because like it really, if you think about, it's things are really just finished because you say it's finished because you can still find things to do and especially in the EDM world that I'm in sometimes it's like then it's like the remix land we're like let's
Oh, yeah.
open up the thing again and make a different remix and um but yeah it is really important to just say at some point you got to say hey this is now finished and even if it's just finished because of like the deadline has come um and yeah
Yeah, I think
deadlines.
it's good to have a structure and a deadline. Otherwise, it can take, yeah, it's like without that, then you may not finish
Yeah,
it. So, yeah, I think it just depends on what it is,
yeah.
you know. But
That's interesting. But let's travel back. So how did you grew up in on the East Coast, correct?
yes, correct.
And then how did you sing first? Did you play the piano first? How did it unfold? Or was it just like for me, my parents it was like bizarre. Like it was like maybe 5 or 6, and then I remember like one time at lunch they were like, "What instruments do you want to learn?" It was just like kind of like as if like, "What school do you want to go to?" I was like, "Do you want to learn piano or guitar or something?" And then my mom was like, "Well, the piano is like probably too big and heavy to get one in here. The guitar is kind of nice. You could just put it," because she was like always concerned about things being neat and organized in the house
Mm.
and. Later we got a piano and she was not happy because it was collecting dust and things like that. It's like mom is like I love my mother, but she's like very organized and very German in that way. But yeah, so how was that for you? You kind of just started singing first, or like it was a piano in the house, or your parents were doing music?
Yeah, so I heard that I was whistling in the womb.
Whistling in the womb. Is
that
that
that's what
possible? Is that that
that's
is just
so basically I was born playing music or making sounds or singing or whistling. Um, but yeah, we already had a piano in the house growing up, which was from my dad. And I think being an only child, it was like I just took to the piano instantly. And then my preschool teacher was a piano teacher, so I started lessons at a very, very young age. And then singing was always like singing and dancing too. It was like tap, ballet, 3 years old. And dance is automatically music. So I was exposed from a very young age, and singing and dancing and piano were just like naturally a part of my life. And to touch on the guitar mention of it being much easier to have a guitar versus a piano, I decided on my own to pick up a guitar later in life, more around like my college years, because of that. With keyboards and pianos being so difficult to transport, I too wanted to be able to just pick up a guitar and play anywhere. However, pianos always will be my number one instrument.
It's so interesting because for me, like the guitar is more interesting. I mean, personally, more interesting because I come from electric guitar and just the sounds I can get out of it. But I always felt that like I wish I had started on the piano just because of the representation on how music theory and everything is laid out. Because on the guitar, it's weird. Like you have like a C4 in 5 different positions, and it's a little bit weird. To me, sometimes when I work with like people that come from the piano side, like just the way they're just much more structured, and they're just like when it comes to like the way they write, they just always see it on the piano. I kind of like force myself to do it, and I think nowadays I'm a little bit more that way, but I should probably just spend more time on the piano because it's just so like it's such a visual representation of what's going on, sort of.
Yeah.
If and even if you compose or produce something, just how it's laid out. The guitar is like very, very confusing, and also like very limited in a way because you can't really accompany yourself, like just for learning songs and for understanding how music works, and like how like the building blocks. You got your bass notes and you got your melody that works against it. The guitar is like either you strum it right or you kind of play these like single lines, but you rarely have that sensation, maybe a little bit with finger picking, of like really having like full harmony and melody in the pens at the same time. It's always like a workaround, because there's certain problems that arise with like trying to have the bass note going while you play the melody. It's
Yeah,
only
it's like
so
almost
much.
like you have to have two guitars going at the
Yeah,
same time.
and it's like a little bit of a mind game to do it at the same time, because you kind of like sometimes like your fingers can't, you can't really play like every syncopation and stuff like that. So really admire people that can play piano. I also feel like for the brain hemispheres it's really good.
Yeah, I think but yeah, I think that it's like for me visually it's almost more linear to see the piano um rather than a guitar where it's I don't know, it's almost like harder to visualize.
What's going on?
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, they're just different, but they're also interchangeable as well with the theory behind it.
I think if you kind of like, I use them like sort of just as like accompaniment, like tools, rather than like I don't compose like string sets, or I don't compose like, you know what I mean? Like if you're a composer, then it's you really need to like have be a good piano player and have the autonomy of like left hand, right hand, and be able to do that sort of thing. Um, yeah, I mean those are the big. I mean, what other instruments when you write songs you
Ukulele.
could have a harp.
Oh
The harp
gosh.
is. I mean, I think
That's another one that's
the
hard
harp
to
is a
to move
weird.
around.
The harp, I've like in college I knew someone who was playing harp, and the harp is, it's really just like it's kind of like a guitar. It's like you don't fret anything, but you kind of just have a bunch of strings, and in that sense, but it's just like a very weird instrument. Yes, to harp around, and then to like the hoops people have to go through with that. It's pretty wild. That's what I always liked about the guitar. You can just bring it anywhere. The piano is sort of like such an immovable object. Um, and I
Although I
remember.
do know the best piano movers in Southern California.
Oh, really? I know some good ones too. That's good to know.
But that's a whole art in itself. It's
Yeah,
like amazing
yeah,
to watch them do it.
the piano moving. Yeah, it is. It's weird. It doesn't really move. I remember like when I first started out, and I came from like being like a teenager, like a guitar where you just like chill out on the couch and play like that. I remember I would like lay down and try to like grab onto the keys and like just to kind of like do this laid back, and it was like not good. Um, the piano is very stiff in that way. It doesn't come to you.
Mm-hmm.
And I also feel like I never feel like I don't know where to sit. Where do you sit? You sit in front of middle C, or kind of like
Yes.
how do you like to sit?
Yes, right in front of middle C. Yeah.
And then you feel like you can.
But I mean, if I have to sit in a different position for whatever reason, if there's like a mic that has to be positioned in like more to the side, then you just like make do.
I think I need to become. That's always been the thing that I've been putting off for years to like really grind the piano. For some reason, that is something that I haven't done yet. To like, it's like practice the piano.
Oh, you sound pretty good to me.
Yeah, but to like really, yeah, I have like 5 or 6 songs that I can like do, but to be really like completely like fluent and sort of like
Concert pianist.
yeah, no, not like that, but it's like so. There's certain like there's like if you're a musician and you kind of just like learn everything on the building blocks, then you listen to a song. I listen to a song on the guitar. It's like, oh, that comes from that, right? But on the piano, like I might like learn like a bit like a 1,000 miles and have this like running riff there, but I'm not sort of like deep enough to understand from which tradition it comes from, sort of like there's certain like ways to play the piano, right? So you have the jazz thing where it's like like root flat 7, and then you do your little things, and then you have these like Coldplay, Vanessa Carlton, that tradition where it's like you just find nice little voicings and you really just do like simple accompaniment and then find your own parts. Like I don't have any difficulty like coming up with parts on the guitar, but on the piano it's kind of rough for me because I just haven't like learned like I think you learn really by just learning songs. Like I just always learn songs on the guitar, but I only have like a handful of songs that I can play on the piano. So I think the trick is, and normally when I go through songs, I just kind of play like the chords, but you really need to learn those riffs, like the piano can be like a riffy instrument.
Oh yeah, like the melodies.
And it's really nice. And then in that way, you also like gonna figure out like you can just move that into synthesizers. What do you like synthesizers?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's weird. I have this weird relationship with like synthesizers. For a long time I really didn't acknowledge them as like
instrument.
It's like a proper instrument, It's sort of weird. I grew up as this like very purist, just like, oh, it needs to be a microphone in front of it, and like and that sort of thing. So synthesizers are still like
more electronic.
Yeah, but some of them are just like don't sound that great, Like I always want to put like tape stuff on them.
Tape.
Like tape emulation, like running it through like an old tape machine just to make it more analog.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I stick more to piano. But
do you have like when you play live? Do you have a little synthesizer and stuff going on?
Not recently. No. I did have a Roland FA06 that had a bunch of synthesizer sounds and things, and my Korg workstation has synthesizer sounds, but yeah, that's more for special occasion, I guess. Just more, I'm just like stick to the raw piano vocal. That's kind of my vibe. However, I may be getting into DJing here.
Yeah, get into some DJing. I remember this guy like that had like was playing like you could he had like an grand piano, and then he had a Nord on top that had like a an upright bass sound, and he was doing like this jazz thing.
The organs are great on the Nord.
Yeah, but just having like playing, he was like doing a walking bass line at the same time. Like that's just so crazy to me. Like you gotta split your brain.
Oh yeah, like the double decker.
Yeah. You gotta split your brain, just like the coasts. Let's talk about East Coast to West Coast. I've lived on the East Coast, and now I live on the West Coast, and like it still baffles me that it's all one country, but the cultures are so like they're really vastly different. And like out here, it's sort of like if somebody says like sure, let's do it, that is like a maybe, and then if someone says like maybe, that's like a no, but nobody
That's where
says
those
no.
deadlines and dates come in play.
You know?
It's
No,
like,
but it's like weird. And on the East Coast, if you're in Boston or New York City, and it's like people will just be like straight up. It's like, hey, do you want to hang out? It's like, no, no, like, and here it's like, yeah, for sure, and like, for
it's
sure.
like, yeah, but we're not going to.
It's like, it's I don't know. Is that so? The big question though is this a LA specific thing or is that a Southern California thing? Because
I think it depends on the person. I don't think you can like generalize an
yeah.
entire region stereotype.
Yeah, let's not do that. But we always.
It's like I got a friend that lives in Orange County and she's from Alaska and
Dude, Alaska.
yeah.
Have you been to Alaska?
No, but I'm gonna go. But it's like a lot of people aren't from here, so it's interesting to see the different personalities of the ones that are really local to here versus people that have come in from other places.
Yeah.
But
I mean, you've definitely like assimilated. You were out on the beach. You were in the water.
oh yeah, oh man. I mean, it's like how can you live close to the ocean and not be obsessed with the ocean? It's like, well, that was one of the reasons that pulled me out here. And you just say the thing East Coast versus West Coast. I would say there's quite some similarities with Florida and California because Florida has like ocean beach life. It's almost like we're in the wild, wild west out here in California, and there's kind of like wild west vibes in Florida too. It's like it's this wild south, so.
But yeah, I mean, but the thing is with like Florida is if we were just looking at the statistics now, like first of all, like okay, surf. Some people don't surf, so let's not bring that in. But the surf in Florida is pretty bad.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
okay, but then just look at the weather and like the humidity and stuff. I just feel like that on the whole, like just the weather and the climate is better in Southern California because you have this like yes, sure, it's sunny all the time there, but you also have this humidity and you have this
which
like
is very good for your skin.
You like the humidity?
Not in the heat of the summer, no. Like
see, but here the summer is like if you read the
summer's
summers
perfect in California.
Yeah, because it's still dry. I mean, I think the weather is just all around perfect. That's why
Yeah.
we pay the weather tax
Right.
for living here. I mean, I was just walking out earlier. I was like, that's amazing.
Yeah, I would say it's different having LA in California because it's such like a creative hub and entertainment industry. So that kind of sets it apart from other places. I mean, Miami's got like the art district and all of that and like a huge electronic scene and festivals and whatnot, but it doesn't have that LA vibe.
Yeah. Talk about LA scene. What is the LA scene? Is there an LA scene or is it just like a bunch of scenes mumbled together? And then, like me personally coming from Nashville, I think it's so cumbersome to get to gigs, to get around, to like check out venues, right? Because it's like it's really rough parking, trying to go from even like just the different things. Like if you try to go from like West Hollywood to Silver Lake in one night to check out 2 shows, it's difficult.
Oh, that was me last night. No.
So okay, it wasn't difficult. Tell me about you.
I went from Beverly Hills to Silver Lake last night. It was probably the GPS said it was a 30-minute drive, but it was like a chill 30-minute drive. It was like driving down Santa Monica Boulevard or, driving down the neighborhood to get there. So it wasn't like too difficult really, especially at night when there's not tons of traffic. But yeah, it's spread out for sure, but it was pretty easy. Like it wasn't, it was just might have some distance, but you can get there.
You feel like after COVID, like a lot of clubs like shut down and kind of like. didn't come back.
Yeah, but I still think there's a lot operating as well. So I mean, I think the scene is very much back. You know, there's a so last night in Silver Lake there's a writers round. Um, Lots of talented songwriters, musicians coming together, kind of supporting one another, connecting, vibing, good vibes. And then
What's your
yeah,
favorite venue to play in LA?
um, it depends. Well, right now I have two favorites. One of them being Dante at Beverly Hills. It's at the Mayborn Hotel, and it's on the penthouse rooftop, gorgeous views of the city, white piano, just beautiful aesthetic, really nice people, great martini specials, and it's got that LA vibe. So yeah, I would say that's one of my favorite places. And then also Black Rabbit Rose, which is more known to be like a magic show venue, but they have incredible musicians and live performance acts. And it's probably one of the most intimate rooms with fantastic sound. And it's like you go in this theater and you have to pay attention, or it's like you can't not pay attention to the performer because it's so intimate and like in your face. And um, yeah, it's just got a really cool vibe. And so I think those are a couple
The
of my
rooftops.
favorites.
The rooftops seem to be like, there seems to be like no one ever opposed to a rooftop. Like I haven't found someone who's like, no, I don't like rooftop bars. I don't like. What is so magical about the rooftop?
Well, you're up high.
Up high.
Um, the views,
View is
the
interesting.
yeah, I mean you can see like the lights cascading over the hills. Um, you know, it's just
When
yeah.
it comes to rooftop bars, probably like New York City is probably the industry leading place with like rooftops, right?
I don't know. Beverly Hills is up there.
They all have
We
rooftop. Yeah.
hopped from Dante to Funke, actually.
I need to do a rooftop vlogging edition. I love rooftop bars.
Yeah.
I feel like a lot. Here's a controversial thesis I have. I have yet to find like. There's in West Hollywood. There's one really good rooftop bar that also has really good cocktails. I feel like the service, food, and drinks are generally a little bit like lacking on the rooftop bars because they're just like, it's like, oh, we have the rooftop, we have the views, we have all of that thing, and a
Right.
lot. You know what I mean? Like, would you agree that sometimes
Because
it's
it's like,
like,
oh, they can be distracted by the view while we take our time with the service.
yeah,
or
and
whatnot,
just the
but
quality and stuff. Like, it's just like I've like, why are there never like these rooftops are that super interesting with like weird food choices or like cool little like, you know, like a tiki rooftop bar would be crazy. Think about like, you know, like you had like a tiki rooftop bar with like a lot of little jungles.
I feel like there is a
I need to. If
There's a
anyone
few
knows, please comment. Comment in the comment section.
tiki. No, I don't know really a tiki one.
Like imagine you had like this rooftop bar and it was like just a full on like, you know, because we've all seen the like very like corporate with the like outdoor seating with the little like the gas. You know what I mean? What do you call
Yeah.
those? Like the gas fire thing. We all like they all look the same. Like there's lots
Right.
of them like that, especially in the like the hotel scene. You know, like they always
Mhm.
look the same. Um, but yeah, maybe I'm gonna make that my life's mission.
There we go. Let's
To
the Malte tiki rooftop.
to make, but dude, the restaurant industry is tough. Like I don't know if I want to be in that.
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
Whew. It's a
yeah,
tough business.
it's a risk, but it
it's
could
a
be
risk.
quite rewarding. You know, if you have the
Okay.
capital to invest behind it. So
Yeah, I mean you would have to like own the venue. However,
right.
you know that I think like otherwise like you're just like always gonna be at the mercy of your landlord if you're running a restaurant or a rooftop bar and stuff
Mhm.
like that. Do you want to have the honor? We have once per podcast. We're trying out a new
Incense?
incense. Yeah.
All right, what
So,
flavor we got?
I
What?
have no idea. This one's black. I don't know if you can see. This one is like black. So let's see. I'm excited. Might have to blow it out. This is like going pretty. There we go. Wow.
We're sorry you can't enjoy the scent with us.
That one looks good.
We will describe it to you with colorful words.
Wow. Let's see.
I can't. I honestly can't even smell it.
Wow, that's a good one. Sometimes they don't smell that great, but this one's good.
Lavender? I don't know.
This one's nice. I'm with it.
With it. So what number episode are we?
What number episode? I think we are 36 or 37.
Oh wow. You've had 36, 37 guests on your podcast.
Yeah.
Wow. I hope it's 36. That's one of my favorite numbers.
Could be actually. I'll I'll check. We'll find out. I have to consolidate all, like. Yes, I had
It's
a bunch
got
of
lots of
different.
editing to
No,
do.
no, I have no few. Like no, they're mostly up, but like I have a few that I gotta still edit down. But also like I had like 3 or 4 different YouTube channels because first I wanted to all like have like one for this, one for that, one for that.
Right.
And then I realized it was like getting way too crazy, and then I would upload by accident onto the wrong one with the wrong content.
Oh.
So now I'm just like having it all on one, but I just have to like shuffle everything together. And I think that's sort of, I don't know if, I still don't have the answer. Is that the move or is that not the move? Because somebody that wants to like check out just like a production tip might not want to like, but then they don't have to click on it. They see what it is. It's like, I'm not doing like, I'm giving it a title, and if you want to check it out, you check it out. And I think that's like, I see a lot of people like doing that on YouTube. I don't see like how that could be an issue. Maybe with the shorts, because when you're kind of doing like short content, you don't want to confuse the algorithm with what it is, right? So it's either like you're pushing little clips of podcasts, or you really put, you know what I mean? Like you need to kind of just do the same thing over and over for the algorithm to kind of grip. Same with social media. It's like weird. Like there's not a lot of social media accounts that blow up that have all sorts of different content, right? Like they don't have like cooking, music, lifestyle, this and that. It's normally like one thing and then just do it over and over.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it's sometimes I come from the like first generation of Instagram where it was all about like having your Instagram, like you were really careful what you would put up, and it was like supposed to look like cool and artsy. Before now it's just like whatever.
Yeah,
like
it's
back then it was
news now.
it was like it wasn't it's news or whatever. It's like it wasn't back in the day. It wasn't even about like pictures of yourself. Like you would just like, it was for photographers. Like it could be like a
Right.
landscape still. Like I remember like my first Instagram post, like where like just cities in Europe where I took like interesting pictures that I wanted to share, and that isn't anymore. So which platform has that now? Pinterest, maybe.
Or just imagery.
It's
Yeah, because now Instagram just like blew up, and it's like videos and
yeah.
reels and
It's just not. It's just not like. It's also like I can't. Talked about it yesterday. I have like a 15-minute timer on my Instagram because I can't. Like I don't want to. It used to be like nice. You could actually just check out the people that you were following. Now you're getting spammed with all
it's like
sorts of.
sponsored and
Yeah,
like
it's just like spam, and it's just like
yeah.
the most obnoxious stuff. So you really have to like guard yourself. It's not now. It's like
Right.
became like the trash TV of the modern day.
Right.
Like it's like this is like the watching the Kardashians and then having a 15-minute commercial in between. Like that's what it feels to me like,
Totally. Yeah, I mean, for me, I really just use it as a platform to
Yeah.
a marketing platform for my music, and I stick to just sharing my music and
Yeah.
my performances, and of course directly communicating, messaging with connecting with people. But yeah, I try to filter out the noise.
It's annoying because it used to be like when I was in Nashville, Instagram was kind of like a community tool where you could stay in touch with your community and stuff, and it was like really nice. And now it's just like you can't do that anymore. So it's like now it's all about we're going back into the in-person interaction. I think, which is good. That's why I started this whole thing, because it's like,
Yeah, I was
especially
super
doing
bummed when it was like, oh, you can't see people. I was like,
yeah.
what? Like, not that they said you can't see people during COVID, but like, you know, a lot of people were scared to kind of interact with each other. And, you know, it's like, what's there to be afraid of? You know, it's like, I found people that were still willing to spend time together. And
That was a weird time. Yeah, but people were just like actually afraid. Like, I didn't even partake in that, but like,
yeah,
people that were like,
it's like, hey, I can't leave the house. Like, all right, well, I'm just going to walk these neighborhoods for days and days on end. And yeah, I did a lot of walking.
but at least you were down at like, where were you? In Laguna, right?
Well, no. Oh, no. No, I was in San Diego and
Oh, then you were living in San Diego.
No, well, yeah, but once they said the beaches were closed, I was on the next flight to Virginia. And Virginia was behind California. So they hadn't closed down yet, but sure enough, they did follow and close down. But it was almost like you could find places that were still open. And then the same thing with San Diego and Orange County. You could find places that were still open. And, you know, they call them the Rebels of Oceanside. And found a little piano bar called the Jazzy Wishbone that stayed open pretty much the entire time. And, you know, kept the music alive.
Jazzy Wishbone.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a cool little mom and pop hole in the wall.
The Jazzy Wishbone, I gotta check that out.
Yeah. So, but yeah, what a crazy time, and you know, it's like good thing that we got through it.
Yeah.
And we're here now.
We're trying to make new habits of interaction again.
Yes.
Which is it's coming together.
Yeah, yeah.
It's coming together.
It's pretty lively out there in LA now. So.
We've been hit with this like crazy inflation though.
Oh.
Right?
Yeah.
Isn't that wild? What is going on with like?
Yeah, we need to get
You go out, you order a margarita, and it's like $21.
Oh yeah, I had a glass of wine last night, $20 plus the tip, plus the tax, plus the wellness charge.
$20 for a glass of wine.
Yeah, it was pretty good. But yeah, that was also on a rooftop in Beverly Hills. Yeah. So yeah, you know, it's just the way of the world now. But
it's the way of the world.
Yeah. So yeah. But restaurants are back open again, and well, they've been open for years now.
What's your favorite? I need to find some new good restaurants.
Well, the first thing that comes to mind is the restaurant that I'm performing at tonight called Wood and Water.
Wood and Water.
Sherman Oaks. And other favorites. I like supporting local, you know. It's like I like independent restaurants, and but yeah, I don't know. So
what's your favorite restaurant in Laguna Beach? Do you buy into the Nick's hype, or do you?
Oh, I like Nick's, but you know, it is definitely hyped up. Best restaurant in Laguna Beach. Ooh.
Carmelita's was really good, but now I went back to Carmelita's and it suffered a little bit. It was like a little like we can talk openly here. So like, you know, it was like used to be like really sort of like the portions were great, you know, portions were like sort of big, and they had like this you know, there was like this charcoal wood fire thing going on. It's like great Mexican food. And when I went back, it kind of felt like weird, like they kind of just like the appetizers were like way smaller than they used to be. The mains were like way smaller, maybe due to inflation. But it's like I was really shocked because I used to love that place. And also the cocktails used to be really great, and now the cocktails are kind of just like watered down and like.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna advocate for Mozambique.
I've heard about that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a music venue in addition to a South African cuisine, and it's got a rooftop. And it's got a speakeasy piano bar, the Durban Room on the first floor. It's got 3 levels, and then the second floor is like full band stage. Kind of goes off. So I think that's a pretty cool venue all around. But yeah, there's just depends on what mood you're in. Honestly, Taco Loco was like a staple for years and years, and it just closed down. So I'm pretty bummed about it. But that was like the place to go for late night tacos, and it was like the only place open like after 11 o'clock. So Taco Loco, you will be missed, but apparently they will be doing some catering at the Sawdust Festival in the future. So stay tuned.
Hmm. Yeah, Laguna has this little like strip where they have all sorts of festivals, right? Where that lifeguard tower is, right smack in the middle.
The main beach.
Yeah. And
the promenade. And
is that where the Sawdust Festival is gonna be?
the Sawdust Festival is like right at the beginning of entering the canyon, right past the downtown. So yeah, it happens twice a year, summers and winter. And it's an art festival primarily. And then there's 3 stages for music.
Yeah. Okay, this is interesting. We're getting into Laguna Beach. Laguna Beach has all these like art galleries and artists, and is like all about the art.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
then
it's totally an artist community.
it is like a crazy artist community, but then at the same time, also like sort of the rents and the property prices don't really like,
Oh yeah.
It's like, so how does this come together? It's just like,
well, it's
just
like, the
old
wealthy
money.
support
Yeah.
the arts.
The wealthy support
It's
the art.
like they sponsor them. Yeah, and then you got like the world class best beaches in Southern California, in my opinion.
Yeah, they're I mean, just for tanning, they're nice for surfing. I don't know, like there's, yeah, I mean, like, there are like some crazy, like gnarly spots in Laguna, right behind that ice cream, like not the ice cream, the you know what I mean? Like when you just come up, like the cliffs, and like you have some spots where it's just like so rocky, and when it's firing, it's really dangerous. But then, I mean, you can't, like the main beach of this never, like, why does it never break? It's weird.
I don't know, it might be because
It's just
Main Beach is kind of like,
yeah.
it's more level and lower than, and and then there's like, you go up the hill to get south, or you go up the hill to get north. So it's like almost like Main Beach is like down in a valley.
Yeah. And it can be like a little bit touristy, right? So it's like, has like,
it's the most touristy area for sure, the downtown Main Beach. But yeah,
Laguna.
But what's even better than Laguna is Dana Point, California.
Dana Point. I got towed in Dana Point once, even though I had a ticket. That was not so fun. It was like at Doheny. And that Doheny parking lot, and I had a ticket, and like they still towed me. That was my experience in Dana Point. But I'll be back. Dana Point is nice. Dana Point is very hilly. It has this, like, you can drive up these like little hills, and then you also right by the beach. It's
Harbor.
Really nice.
Cliffs.
Harbor cliffs.
A lot of new restaurants opening, or just open in Dana Point. It's like totally got revamped. Beautiful brand new apartment condos. I mean, it's like they just totally built up the Lantern district. Everything's very walkable. They'll have kind of a street fair markets from time to time, special events. And then, of course, the Ohana Music Festival down at Doheny every year, put on by Eddie Vedder.
Eddie Vedder is still around.
Oh, yeah.
He lives down there?
I'm not quite sure where he lives, but I know he has headed up the festival for years now. And Foo Fighters performed it for the first time this year. And
Wow, it must be a bigger festival then.
Oh, it was huge. Huge. And even if you don't get a ticket to go into the festival, you can still hang out on the beach for free and hear it perfectly. So it's pretty amazing.
I need to mark my calendar. What's the name of it again?
The Ohana Festival.
The Ohana Festival.
The end of September every year. And yeah, it just finished. It was wild. It was great.
Johanna. It's gonna be on my bucket list for next year. The Johanna
Yes.
Festival and Burning Man.
Yes.
Have you been to Burning Man?
I have not. Not yet. Not yet.
I hear some crazy stories like that. Yeah, that you have to check it out. Burning Man seems to be
It's
interesting.
a
This
commitment.
year was muddy though.
Yeah.
I think last year
anything
was too hot.
anything goes during
Yeah.
that. You know, it's like you never know what to expect. But not that I would really know, but just from what I've heard.
Burning Man. I guess apparently you drive like for hours into this desert, but then there's still like apparently like Nevada State Police on the property and stuff. So like I don't know how if they. I guess like when the festival is going on, the police have to like camp there or live there. I mean, like which police like they wouldn't like drive 2 hours into the desert to then patrol like that festival and drive back out. It's like a crazy undertaking, and like it's like such a weird thing because like weed is not recreational there, so it's like on the festival like premises you can like get arrested, like so it's like it's a little bit of, like I had some insiders tell me like a bunch of crazy stories. You gotta be like still gotta be careful,
Oh, for sure.
It's weird.
Oh, yeah.
But
Yeah, you gotta be careful on all fronts at any festival. Yeah, just all the crazy things happening out there now.
What? Oh, no, but the normal I mean, like we was just at a hard summer, and like that was just, like super normal, nothing out of the ordinary. I think the crazy things at festivals happen when it's like an overnight thing, when people can like tent and camp. That's when it just becomes like its own sort of like.
Or maybe it just depends on where you are in the world.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel pretty good in the States and in Europe. I don't know if I would want to go to a festival in like
anywhere else.
China or something.
Oh my god.
I wish you could like now I feel like it's not really the time to like travel like everywhere in the world. It's just more the time to like sort of stay put,
Right.
What's that? You playing a gig at?
I am. I have a setup here in about 20 minutes at Wood and Water.
Or Wood and Water. This
we
means
have to complete our setup before the restaurant opens.
Yeah.
Gonna load in all the gear. Keyboard, QSC, mixing board, mic stand, keyboard stand, guitar, vocal.
That's
production.
That's why I really like the whole DJ thing.
Because you still gotta load in the console, the QSC.
Yeah, but the club like you just show up and then you just plug in your USB
have it there. Well, a lot of times they have the equipment at other places
the backline.
too,
Yeah, normally they should have it. I mean,
just depends.
The backline thing, but then as a musician, I always felt like sometimes the backline stuff was like rather rough, like the amps they would have and like things. I was always like very as a guitarist, I was like super particular. I would always like carry my amps around. But now there's so many other solutions like profiling amps and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is the Rise and Shine edition here.
This is Malte's Funhouse. Thank you so much for having me.
Now you're closing. You're closing. She's taking the reign. You're closing out the cast now. I like it. Yeah. Sign it off.
Yes. Well, we love you. Stay safe.
Follow yourself on.
Follow Lele on the keys.
Go check it out in Laguna. Watch a show or two. Wow, these incense are really nice.
You can chat me. You can check out my album Can't Stop Now on Spotify, Apple Music.
I'll put the links in the description.
Yeah.
In the description. You know where to find it.
Yeah, and stay tuned for more to come. And
yeah. Now I'm just trying to make it purposely awkward.
Auf Wiedersehen.
Auf Wiedersehen, nice.
Auf Wiedersehen. Adieu. Adieu.
We can just do a little awkwardness of Bobby. Have you heard of Bobby Althoff?
No, I have not.
Wow. Okay. Interesting.
Who's Bobby Althoff?
Bobby Althoff is this new some people say it's like an industry plan. She like started a podcast out of nowhere, and her first episode was Drake. And then she was like, "No, this is all like I DM'd him on Instagram and sort of thing." But it's like, I don't know, maybe there was like a manager in play or something. Like otherwise, like why would your first podcast guest be like Drake? You know. But she's known for making these podcasts that are very like awkward. So sometimes she would just like, the guest will talk and then she will be like,
Brr, brr, brr.
just stop talking. Yes.
Thank you so much for
Rise
tuning
and
in.
Shine. This was the Rise and Shine edition with Lele Rose. My name is Malte. And I will see you guys on the next one. Peace.
Peace.